In previous lectures, our target was achieving discrete needs, wants, and desires, such as products and relationships and so on, and not the overall big picture ticket items of life. Well, in lectures 11 and 12, we're going to switch gears and reflect on the larger overall scheme of things and how we might use our new law of desire skills to achieve life's bigger objectives. And while several considerations go into exploring life's larger questions, it mostly boils down to a few factors. Simply, what is it that you want out of life? In essence, what is your larger purpose, mission, and calling? And while all of these are great questions to ask, if we're being fully honest with ourselves, it's also something most of us have little understanding of. After all, it's a difficult and nebulous subject. None of us fully know what the future holds, and while we sense we'll meet our destiny someday, the contents and character of that event remain largely vague and indefinable. Worse yet, the process of discovering one's destiny has not been well defined or articulated. In other words, it's complicated. But through our new law of desire knowledge, we know that everything has a center, including our lives. In fact, as we will now examine, unearthing the prime center of our life equates to discovering what is one's destiny. So let's get started. In the context of the law of desire, we've learned that the sheer scale and potency of nature and life's creations are a direct reflection of the purity and powerfulness of their originating center. We also know that what our hearts and souls desire the most are the purest and most powerful center of our spiritual being. Thus, once you locate what your heart and soul truly love, you will have discovered your life's largest, most powerful, and most meaningful center. In essence, your life's mission and destiny, why you are here. Thus, it's no surprise we all sense a strong urging to a future and major outcome, moment, or achievement in our lives. The universe has designed centers into more than just our bodies and our minds. It also did so into the life cycle, which equates to our deepest spiritual calling. Nature is stunningly poetic, isn't she? So how do we go about finding our calling? Well, it's actually by way of a little mining and deep digging of sorts. Let's find out why it's this way. Various spiritual traditions believe that uncovering one's destiny equates to finding what your heart truly desires. Well, looking back on my life, I realized this was actually the case in both my professional career and my spiritual journey. Let's take a few moments to look at both to gain some insights. With my career path, it involved trying different roles within the company I worked for. The primary focus of this company was designing and constructing power plants, so there were quite a few different disciplines and aspects to the work. Well, after a decade or so of this, my path progressively evolved towards the commissioning aspect of the work and later the organizational and operations aspects. In hindsight, I realized I ended up in these places because I enjoyed the work and was pretty good at it, and interestingly, it appeared to match the kind of things I liked when I was a child. For instance, when I was a kid, I liked being outside, playing with friends, and interacting with nature. Well, commissioning involved a similar type lifestyle. I worked outside all day, built relationships which were a necessity of the job, and interacted with plant equipment via starting up what were often very large pieces of industrial equipment. It was quite exciting, actually. In essence, this was a 10-year process that had me trying new things until I found something that I liked and was good at. Having made this discovery, which was just a hunch initially, I then continued to follow that path, which progressively confirmed my initial intuitions that this is where I belonged. The process ultimately unearthed what was my career destiny. The path to my spiritual calling followed a similar template in many ways. In my youth, I was continually in nature, mostly playing and exploring, but over time also built a deep fascination and awe in me. When I learned in college that mathematics could perfectly describe nature via equations, my desire to better understand her deepened, as it did even further when I subsequently discovered fractals and chaos theory. Well, then after a fateful trip to Yellowstone National Park, where I experienced what I call three close encounters with nature, essentially I discovered the sheer scale of calderas, the Milky Way, and the Big Bang. Well, then I experienced a sudden and powerful spiritual transformation that fully altered my life's direction and its purpose. I had found my calling, which was to better understand nature, which ultimately led to a host of books and websites, and is in fact the reason why I am here today. Here again, as with my career, I followed a fascination and love for something, in this instance of nature, that urged me to pursue further experiences and understandings that ultimately led to uncovering my spiritual destiny. Okay, I hope my personal experiences have given you some insights into the process, the time frames involved, and why uncovering your calling is so important. So, in Lecture 12, we'll continue on. We'll outline specific steps intended to help you uncover what your heart truly wants and hopefully your destiny. Okay, everybody, thanks. That's all. See you in Lecture 12. Bye-bye.